Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a good, safe and healthy break. Hope you and your families are all safe and well. So I wanted to talk to you about how we're going to proceed with the rest of the semester. And some of this is going to follow what we talked about as we were trying to piece this together before spring break. Here's our plan. The voiceover that was due on March 30th has been waived. So you don't have to do that voiceover story for March 30th. However, if you have already done it, if you've already shot that video and have it done, I have an option for you coming up. Okay, so stand by on that. But again, the voiceover story for March 30th is waived. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do instead is this. Each day, Governor Pritzker and Dr. Astrouski, who is the head of the Illinois Department of Public Health, give a press briefing live. You can find that press briefing on the Illinois Department of Public Health's coronavirus website. So go to the website for the Illinois Department of Public Health, go to the link for coronavirus, and scroll down and you'll find the governor's daily press briefings. You can watch those live. They're usually at 2:30, or you can watch them taped. What I want you to do is I want you to report on 2 of those press briefings. They're done again every day at 2:30. You can find them live or recorded on the Illinois Department of Public Health's website for coronavirus. You can NBC Chicago has been running them on their Facebook page. WAND TV has been doing the same. KMOV TV in the St. Louis area has been doing the same. Most TV stations and a lot of newspapers have been running those live. What I want you to do with those press briefings is to practice basically conducting a live shot. One of the best skills you can have in broadcasting is the ability to record an event and then speak extemporaneously into the camera about the information you just got. Okay? That's one of the biggest skills that you can have in broadcasting. We don't have a lot of live capability at the university, so we don't have a lot of chance for folks to get experience doing that. What we're going to do is practice that. Practice taking notes, covering a story, and then speaking extemporaneously about it into a camera. Here's how you're going to do that. Watch any 2 of the governor's press briefings. Do this one at a time. Watch one of the governor's press briefings. Usually it'll include Governor Pritzker, it'll include Dr. Astrouski from Public Health, and it'll include someone who is relevant to a specific topic they're talking about that day. That could be the head of the National Guard, that could be the head of the State Restaurant Association, the head of the State Treasurer's Office, whoever. Tune in, either live or taped. Take notes on what are the key points that the governor, Dr. Astrouski, and others are bringing up. So, for example, every day Dr. Astrouski gives the new numbers for how many people are tested positive for coronavirus in Illinois. She gives the number of deaths in Illinois. That's important information that you would want. Yesterday, as I'm speaking to you, the governor announced that tax deadlines would be delayed until July, and that the state was making available lots of small business loans and grants. That would be significant. So, first step, watch the briefing, take the notes. Then, briefly, 5 or 10 minutes, go over your notes and see what are the most important points that a viewer somewhere in the state of Illinois would need to know. Okay? Your audience is anyone in the state of Illinois. Then, on a separate sheet of paper, make bullet points. Just short little notes about what the key topics are that the governor and the other officials covered that you want to talk about. Then, set up your phone. You can just turn on selfie cam and record a 1 to 2 minute video update about what the governor has announced, what the other officials have announced. Very simple, okay? What I don't want you to do is write a script. What I don't want you to do is use anchor voice. So do not say, "Good evening, I am Joe Astrouski. The governor's office today has announced." Don't do that. Instead, what you're going to do is basically record in your own words, extemporaneous video update. 1 to 2 minutes. 2 minutes tops. So what you would do is, for example, say, "Good afternoon, Joe Astrouski here. We've got some new information from the governor's office and from the State Department of Public Health. They revealed this to us at their briefing this afternoon. Here's what we know. Dr. Agaze Nzike announced 300 new cases of positive tests for coronavirus in Illinois. She also announced 3 additional deaths. That brings the total number of deaths from this illness in Illinois to 21. The governor also announced small business loans. And you'll pardon if I read off of my notes. The governor announced $13 billion for small businesses in loans that would be repaid over 5 years. Announced another $50 million in grants for small businesses outside of Cook County. Like that. You see what I'm saying? So you're not writing a full script that you're going to read to the camera. You're just going to make bullet points and you're going to deliver them to the camera the way I am now. You can just use your cell phone on this. Don't worry about a microphone. So long as your phone is close enough to you, you should get good enough quality of audio. Okay? So are we clear on this? I'm going to include some notes with the email that I send that's also, again, going to outline the due dates of these 2 projects. So what I'm asking you to do is view 2 of the governor's daily press briefings. For each one, I want you to record one of these 1 to 2 minute updates that I'm describing now. Now, if you have already done the VO project for March 30th, you can turn that into me and you'll only have to do 1 of these video updates. Got it? So the assignment is 2 of these video updates. If you've done the VO project, turn the VO in, you'll only have to do 1 of these reports on the governor's daily press briefing, okay? Again, I'm going to include some notes with you to make this clear. But again, the big things to remember is take good notes on the press briefing, then make some bullet points of the key things you learned and deliver them conversationally like this, right? So don't write out a script and read it, just deliver that information conversationally like this. Finally, our final project in this class is going to be, as it was, a package. We'll have the same, well actually we'll say that this package will be due April 30th. That's because our final exams are gone, and so I'm not sure how that's going to affect the deadlines for us to upload grades. Okay, so April 30th, the final package will be due. The subject of the final package will be the coronavirus pandemic as it affects someone in your home, in your neighborhood, in your place of work. Okay? Now, I can't require you to leave home. So if you don't feel comfortable leaving your house, your apartment, you can report a story about how someone or multiple people in your home or apartment are affected by the stay-at-home requirements. Understand? So for example, I could imagine, you know, if you live with 2 other people who are students and you're living in Charleston off campus, you could show what their experience is like staying at home, staying isolated. If you work a job where you work in food service, you know, perhaps you're able to record some video and a couple interviews about doing carry-out setups, how that's different, phone calls from people wanting delivery, that kind of thing. If you're doing some kind of volunteer work, perhaps you'd be able to record some video of that happening and interview a couple people who are doing that volunteer work. I think a really interesting story right now is how clergy are using social media to reach out to parishioners and others in the absence of people being able to come to their houses of worship. That could be a really interesting story too. The key is just what you are able to and comfortable doing. What you'll need to do is simply record that. The responses I've gotten so far indicate that most of you have smartphones. So just record that video the same way you would on the smartphone. Okay, lots of working journalists are doing that right now. So you'll be joining them as you're doing that. So again, the package is going to be about a view of this coronavirus pandemic from where you are, how it's affecting people who are around you. Okay? Today I'm just going to talk about what you'll need to think about when you're shooting that package. Okay? Next week we'll talk about writing up the package and editing. But right now let's just talk about shooting. One thing to think about is, unlike other news stories, a news package is always meant to be a story. Okay? You are going to be telling a story. A story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A story has characters. I want you especially to think about that concept. A story has characters. So rather than just sharing information like a high school essay, you're telling a story. And you're telling a story through the lens of characters. So, you can mention in a package what the numbers are of people infected in your county. You can mention the governor's stay-at-home order. You can mention these, big, hard facts. But the key is going to be, you're going to be telling a story about real people around you. So what that means is, if you're going to tell a story about people, about the characters really in your story, you need to show them. We need to see them, okay? So if, for example, you're telling a story about, maybe you're back home, you're the oldest child in your family, maybe you're back living with your folks, you got a couple of younger siblings, and your mom is trying to, keep them occupied, or is trying to keep the house clean amidst all these your siblings all being stuck at home. You're going to certainly want to interview her, and we'll talk about shooting that in a minute, shooting those interviews. But you're also going to want video of her doing something, okay? That can be, washing dishes, that can be playing games with younger siblings, that can be, washing the windows, whatever. If you're doing a story about the life of college students stuck in their apartments during this, that may be video of your roommate playing video games. And you're going to need more than one or two shots. You're going to need several shots of them doing whatever it is they're doing. Okay? So if you're doing a story about somebody who has just been playing a ton of video games during this quarantine, a wide shot from behind of them, the TV, and the game. Medium shot facing them, where you can see their face and them holding the controller. Tight shots of their fingers on the controller, tight shots of their eyes, tight shots of the screen, okay? You see what I'm saying? You are going to want to show the characters in your story. If you're doing a story about some neighborhood organization that's doing some kind of work, meal deliveries, for example, you're going to want several shots of the people who are doing that delivery. Again, think wide, medium, tight, tight, tight. The same formula that we talked about for VOs earlier in the semester, that's how you want to be shooting. So start with the wide shot, then get some medium shots, then get some tight shots, okay? Because that's going to add variety to your storytelling. How many shots do you need? I'd say at least 20, probably 25 or more. Okay, you always want to have more than enough video, especially for a package, because you're going to be having to cover up some of your voice. And you don't have to repeat the same shots over and over again. It gets really boring. You're always going to want fresh shots. So think 20 to 25 shots at least, if not more. Get shots of people doing things. If you can get shots where there is sound, that's terrific. You know, if you do a story about a local restaurant that is providing carry-out service, you know, get shots of them answering the phone. Because then you're not only going to have motion, but you're going to have natural sound, which is going to take the viewer to where you are. So that's the key. Finally, with interviews. Again, since most of you are going to be shooting with cell phones, smartphones, obviously shoot landscape style, sideways. And then you are going to think, we talked about this before break, chest pocket up. Okay? You want the bottom of the frame to be about where somebody's chest pocket would be. You want the top of the frame just maybe an inch above their head. Okay? So this is sort of the framing that you want. Actually, I tried to set up this lecture in that style. Okay? Looking for 2 interviews, looking for natural sound, looking for plenty of video. Okay? Let's talk about editing. As a couple of you have pointed out to me, the Adobe Suite is available to all of our Eastern students through the end of this semester on their personal computers. Okay? I'm going to, along with the email I'm sending this video in, I'm also going to send you the link to that so you can download it. So what you'll have to do is record that video on your phone, and whether you have to email those clips to yourself or if you have a cable you can use to get that video into a computer, you'll be able to edit that video. And later on in the semester, in a week or two, we're going to talk about how to edit a package together. Okay? But what I want you to focus on right now as you start thinking about the package is how is COVID-19 affecting people around me? How can I tell a story about that? What kind of video can I get? Okay? Again, this can be in your own home. If you're living with other people, this can be within your own home. You know, if you're not able to leave home, and if there's nobody at home with you, I mean, it's possible you could do a Skype, record a Skype video or a FaceTime, okay? So those are the key points. So remember, March 30th, voiceover, waived if you've already done it. You only have to do one of the reports on the governor's press briefing. The other assignment is those press briefings, again, extemporaneous live shots. And then finally, that final package due April 30th about how COVID-19 is affecting people around you. Tell a story about that. Let me just leave you with a thought. I'm recording this lecture from my office at home. A lot of my colleagues and friends in journalism are recording remarkable stories this way. They're anchoring the news, doing weather from their house. They are gathering video with smartphones because they're not able to go into their studios. They are getting really creative, especially in broadcasting, getting very creative with the ways that they gather video and tell stories. Because more than other media, broadcast requires sound and video. And they're getting really creative with ways to do it. And learning to tell a story with just your smartphone, done from home, is a really valuable skill. And it's one that a lot of working journalists are practicing already, and you're going to be doing that too. So hang in there. I think we're going to actually produce some really cool stuff in these packages. So look in the rest of this email for details, again in print, about what we're going to be doing. But that's what I have for you. Next week we're going to talk about how to write a package. Okay? See you then. Bye.